This time we're going to look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Before this weekend, they actually had about a 50% chance of making the playoffs. And then they went ahead and lost to a division rival in the Giants. And now those odds have dropped down to 23%. And just in pre production, as we said 23%, Jen blurted out, "That's too high." So, Jen, I want to come to you here first. Are the Eagles dead?
I mean, 100%. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a pretty solid quarterback. But when you have a coach that throws 40 highlighters on his hat every single game, you know he's going to be calling some terrible plays. Um, it's funny, fun fact. If you go back to some of the game films of him, wearing 40 highlighters, he didn't use a single one. So what was those highlighters doing there for? They were definitely a fashion design at that point. It just seems like he does not know exactly how to call plays that would fit a scheme for Jalen Hurts. And it's funny too because I lived in Pennsylvania before, and now people back home are saying "die, die, Eagles die" versus "fly, Eagles fly." So you know that the fan base is definitely not on his side, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Sirianni goes out anywhere and gets cheesesteaks thrown at him by the fans.
We've talked about Philly fans in previous episodes, like not just Philly NFL fans, but like Philly sports fans. And they are not a forgiving crew. Um, so if you're brought in there, you need to perform and you need to figure it out fast. And I know Nick Sirianni has to be decent. He's held other defensive coordinator jobs, not head coaching jobs, but he's held other NFL jobs for a decent period of time. So he's not an idiot. But if you listen to him talk, he sounds like he doesn't know a fucking thing. Like he sounds terrible. I don't know if it's just like he can't communicate himself well to the public, but he does not sound like the master motivator you want in your locker room. I can't speak to how that's received by the players. I'm not one. But you're not going to get any love from us when it comes to Eagles. Like Jin is a Cowboys fan, so sworn rival pretty much. And I am a Patriots fan who had to live through the 2018 Super Bowl. So you're not going to get any love from here to the Eagles. I thought they were dead before this game. They beat a couple bad teams. They started to look decent. It seemed like their offense started to come together. Once they stopped relying on Jalen Hurts to throw the football every single play and started figuring out that there are other things you can do in an offense, they seem to be putting points on the board. They're putting, close to 30 for a stretch of games there almost every time. So they seem to be looking good, but they were beating some shitty opponents. And so they came up against the Giants. I thought it was a for sure win, but they lost, and now their playoff chances are below 23%, which apparently seems high. I think they're dead. I didn't think they'd end up making the playoffs in the first place. So I definitely think they're dead now.
I mean, just going back to the live betting markets, I think they're at a plus 1,500 to one, plus 1,500 or 15 to 1 to win, which, if you think about it, on a mathematical scale, the odds maker actually puts them at closer to, I think, somewhere in the 8 to 9% range at this point.
Isn't that to win the division, though?
To the division, yeah, but to the playoffs is the same thing. It's still at plus 1,500. So, like, if you think about it, like, it'd be a good bet to place on, but you have to be, smoking 40 ounces of crack at this point to make that bet.
So it's not a good bet to place.
No,
Just to be
no. On
clear.
on a mathematical scale, yes, it'd be good for mathematically to, if you had some other bets to hedge against, it'd be a good hedge. If you had some other teams, but like I said, like it seems like the Eagles are dead. Like the Eagles fans might start a riot I'm surprised Nick Sirianni's house hasn't been throwing rocks at um, during this season because we know how Philly fans are. Um, so hopefully, he can, after the season, if they have a losing season, hopefully he can still, go out of his house, or otherwise he's gonna have a very bad time um, in Philly because those people don't matter who you are. If you suck and you're the coach of that team, they'll spit in everything you got.
I feel like the rest of their season, or I guess there's 3 games in the middle because they play the Jets, and then the last week they play the Cowboys. But there's the middle where they play Washington, Giants, Washington. Uh, those are pick'em games. It feels like, and I would lean towards taking Washington probably both times. Um, and I thought they beat the Jets or the Giants, but apparently not. So they might lose that one too. So they stand a very good possibility of only winning one more game this year.
Hmm. Damn. Yeah. So both of you think this team is dead. Well,
I'm
that
also I'm technically also cheering them on at the same time because losing records, worse games equals higher draft picks, and they technically are on track for 2 in the top 10 and another one in the top 20. So, I hope they went out the rest of the year, so then you get a really shitty draft pick and draft another wide receiver that's going to be a bust, or all of them are busts because first rounders in Philly does not go well. They could be great somewhere else. Like contributors like Nelson Aguilar, who had butterfingers all 4 years with the Eagles, and he now have less butterfingers. Last season with the Raiders, and this season with the Patriots.
yeah, maybe it was cheesesteaks making his hands slippery.
Hey, those cheesesteaks
Those
ain't no
things are
mistake.
greasy, dude. They're good though.
Oh yeah.
You eat like one of those, it's like Popeye's challenge on a sandwich with the amount of cholesterol and fat that you have.